Welcome back to Astral Card Vault. Today we're looking into a connection where the love is still very much alive, even if both of you have been acting like you're okay without each other. And right away, with the Ten of Pentacles coming through as our first card, this is big. This is not a small feeling. This is not just, I miss you sometimes. No, I'm getting someone who has been thinking about the long-term picture, the future, commitment, home, family, stability. What life could actually look like if the two of you stopped circling each other and finally had that honest conversation? Interesting. Because the Ten of Pentacles is not casual energy. This is legacy energy. This is could we build something real energy. And for some of you, this person may not be saying anything right now, but their mind is already wandering into serious places. Marriage, living together, blending families, meeting each other's people, rebuilding trust, creating something that lasts. That's not going to be everybody's story, but I'm feeling very strongly that someone here still sees you as part of their future. And that's what they're hiding. They may be acting distant. They may be quiet. They may be watching from the shadows a little bit, acting like they're detached, acting like they're fine. But underneath that silence, there's this question running through their mind. Did I lose the person I was supposed to build with? There it is. For some of you, there has been separation, no contact, hot and cold behavior, or a situation where pride got in the way. Someone may have pulled back because they didn't know how to handle the weight of this connection. It got too real. It started touching their fears around commitment, responsibility, family expectations, money, timing, or whether they were mature enough to give you what you deserved. But with the Ten of Pentacles here, what I'm feeling is that this person has not let this go. They still love you. They may be hiding it behind silence, ego, work, distractions, or pretending they're focused on other things. But emotionally, this connection still sits in the center of their chest like an unopened letter. And we're going to find out what they're planning, because someone has been holding back something big. And when we look at why they have been holding this back, the Hermit comes through. Interesting. Because this tells me the distance has not been empty. It has not been nothing. Even if it felt like nothing was happening, even if it felt like they just disappeared, this person has been sitting with themselves in a way they maybe have not done before. The Hermit is quiet, yes, but it is not careless quiet. This is the kind of silence where somebody is forced to look at their own patterns, their own fears, their own choices, their own avoidance. And what I'm getting here is that your person pulled back because something about this connection made them face themselves. For some of you, they were not ready for that. They may have been used to keeping things light. They may have been used to escaping when emotions got too deep. They may have been used to acting like they did not care, because caring meant responsibility. Caring meant showing up. Caring meant admitting that you were not just another person they could drift away from. There it is. The Hermit is telling me this person has been in their head a lot. More than you know, they may have gone quiet, but their thoughts got louder. They may have stopped messaging, stopped explaining, stopped showing up in a visible way, but internally, they were replaying things. What they said, what they didn't say, how you looked at them, the last conversation, the moment where the energy shifted. And for some of you, yes, this is no contact. For others, this is emotional no contact, where they may still be around, still watch your stories, still appear here and there, but emotionally, they keep a locked door between you and what they're really feeling. That's not going to be everybody's story, but this feels like someone who has been hiding inside themselves, not because they stopped loving you, because they don't know how to come forward without exposing the part of them that is scared. And I'm also getting that this person needed time to understand what they actually want. The Ten of Pentacles came first, so we already know the future is on the table, but the Hermit says they had to go inward before they could admit that future to you. They had to ask themselves, am I ready to be serious? Can I actually give this person consistency? Can I repair what I made confusing? Wow. So let's clarify this Hermit energy, because now the question becomes very important. Is this silence, fear, is it pride? Or is this person quietly preparing to come back with something real and coming out of that quiet hermit space? We have the Eight of Wands. Okay, that changes the message, because this silence is not staying still. This is movement after a pause. This is energy that has been building behind the scenes. And now it starts looking for a way out. So if you were wondering, is this person just gone? Are they done? Did they forget? I'm not getting that. I'm getting pressure. I'm getting thoughts stacking up, feelings stacking up, words they did not say starting to push against the inside of their chest. The Eight of Wands can be communication, but before it becomes communication, it is momentum. It is the moment where somebody cannot keep sitting in the hermit forever. They cannot keep hiding in silence forever. They cannot keep pretending that not speaking means not feeling. There it is. There. For some of you, this person has typed something and deleted it. Or they have looked at your name, looked at old messages, looked at pictures. Maybe they hovered over that call button and then talked themselves out of it. That's not going to be everybody's story, but this feels like someone who has wanted to reach out more than once. And with this Eight of Wands, what I'm feeling is that the distance may suddenly shift. Not necessarily in the way you expect. It may come through as a message that seems casual at first. Something quick, something small, something that almost makes you say, really? After all this time, that's what you have to say, but underneath it, there is more. Because remember, we started with the Ten of Pentacles. So this is not just random movement. This is someone trying to open the road back toward the future they have been quietly imagining. Interesting. They may still be controlling themselves. They may still be nervous. They may not want to look too emotional, too eager, too vulnerable. Pride is definitely still sitting here. Fear of rejection is sitting here too. But the Eight of Wands tells me the energy is getting harder for them to contain. And for some of you, there could be physical distance involved. Different cities, different schedules, travel, work, timing issues, life being complicated. But even with distance, the thread is still active. They still love you. They haven't let this go. They are thinking long term, but they may rush in with something that looks smaller than what they truly mean. So now we need to see what direction these wands are flying in, because if the silence is breaking, the next question is, are they coming in impulsively, or are they finally coming in with a real plan? But before that movement becomes a full confession, the star comes through reversed. Interesting, because that tells me this person is not rushing in from a place of total confidence. They may want movement. They may want communication. They may want to open the door. But the star reversed says they are questioning whether there is still hope here. That's the part they're not showing you. They may be acting like they're fine. They may be acting like they've accepted the distance. But deep down, there's this fear of, what if I waited too long? What if they don't believe me anymore? What if the damage is already done? There it is. This person still has a wish connected to you. They still have a vision, but they do not fully trust that the vision can happen. And that connects back to the Ten of Pentacles, because they are thinking long term. But the star reversed says they are nervous that the future they want with you may be harder to reach now. For some of you, this person knows they disappointed you. They know they made you question your worth or question whether this connection was real. And I don't feel like that sits lightly with them. The Hermit already showed us they have been reflecting. The Eight of Wands showed the pressure building. Now the star reversed is showing the insecurity underneath all of that. So if they come in, they may not come in with the full confession right away. They may test the waters. They may send something simple. A little message. A small sign. Maybe a reaction. Maybe a question. Maybe something that feels almost too ordinary for how much has happened between you. And you might be sitting there like, why are you acting so casual when this connection was never casual? Exactly. Because they are trying to see if there is still light in the window before they walk up to the door. That's what I'm feeling. This is someone who may be planning, but their plan is wrapped in doubt. They're not just daydreaming about you. They are thinking about how to repair the energy, how to restore trust, how to make you feel safe again. But they are scared. Scared of rejection, scared you've healed past them, scared you see them differently now. And honestly, for some of you, you do. So the first move may look small, but the intention behind it, that feels much bigger than they are ready to admit out loud. And the way they try to come back may not look traditional at first, because now we have the Hierophant reversed. Interesting, because this tells me their first move may not come in the traditional way. It may not come in as a grand speech. It may not be, "I've thought about everything. I want to marry you. I want to fix this. I'm ready." Even if that's the deeper energy underneath. The Hierophant reversed feels like someone who is nervous around commitment, nervous around expectations, nervous around doing things the right way because they may not trust themselves to get it right. There it is. This person may know that if they come toward you, the conversation cannot stay surface level forever. They know eventually you're going to ask, "What do you actually want from me?" And that question scares them, not because they don't care, because they know the answer has weight. For some of you, this person has been hot and cold because the connection started touching places where they felt unprepared. Commitment, labels, family, marriage, long-term stability, responsibility. All that Ten of Pentacles energy from the beginning. And now with the Hierophant reversed, I'm getting someone who may approach you sideways. A casual message, a little joke, a random check-in. Maybe something like, "Hey, how have you been?" or "I saw this and thought of you." And you may feel that little pause in your chest because it seems too light for everything that happened. But don't miss the nervousness underneath it. This is someone trying to enter the room without knocking too loudly. That's what I'm feeling. They may act playful because they're afraid of coming in emotional. They may act casual because they don't want to be rejected in a serious tone. They may test the waters because if you respond coldly, they can pretend it didn't matter. But it does matter. Bottom of the deck. I'm feeling this pressure again. There's confirmation that this person is not as detached as they've been acting. The reversed Hierophant is showing me someone who may have resisted the very thing they now realize they want. A real bond, a real conversation, a real chance to do this differently. For some of you, there were outside opinions involved too. Family, friends, social expectations, cultural differences, different beliefs, different timelines. Something made this connection feel complicated, but behind that casual energy, behind that little message, behind that just checking in energy, I'm getting a desire to see you, to sit across from you, to hear your voice again, and find out if this can still be rebuilt face to face. And if they do step into that room with you again, the Page of Pentacles reversed shows why the offer has to be handled carefully. Interesting, because this is showing me why that face-to-face conversation feels so delicate. The Page of Pentacles reversed can be someone who wants to offer something, but they don't know if what they have is enough yet. They may want to come toward you. They may want to rebuild. They may want to say, "Can we start somewhere?" But there's insecurity around the offer. There it is. This person knows they cannot come back empty-handed. They know they cannot just show up with chemistry, memories, and a cute little message and expect you to forget everything that happened. Because for some of you, this person already gave you promises that were not followed by action. That's not going to be everybody's story, but I'm getting this feeling of, I said things before, but did I actually prove them and now they know that matters? The Page of Pentacles reversed can also show immaturity around commitment. Not always bad intentions, but not fully knowing how to build something steady. Someone may have had love for you, but not the tools. Feelings, yes. Consistency, not always. Desire, yes. Follow through, maybe shaky. And that's why this reunion energy feels complicated. Because part of them wants to come in and feel close to you again. They want to see if the warmth is still there. They want to know if you still smile the same way, if your energy still opens to them, if the connection still has that familiar pull. But another part of them knows this cannot just be a sweet moment. It has to mean something. For some of you, there may have been outside interference, friends talking, family opinions, someone else in the picture, jealousy, misunderstandings, people putting their hands into a connection they did not fully understand. And with this page reversed, I'm also getting someone who may have listened to the wrong advice before. Maybe they acted careless because they wanted to look unbothered. Maybe they chose pride because somebody told them not to chase. Maybe they acted like they had options when really emotionally, they kept circling back to you. Wow. So now the question becomes very real. Do they want a reunion because they miss the comfort, or do they want a reunion because they are finally ready to rebuild? Because this card is telling me they know they cannot return the same way they left. And after that question, Temperance comes in with exactly the energy this connection needs. Wow. This is exactly the kind of energy I wanted to see here, because Temperance is not a card of rushing. It's not someone crashing back in just because they miss you at midnight, or because they suddenly feel lonely, or because their ego needs reassurance. Temperance is repair. It's patience. It's someone realizing that if they come back, they have to come back differently. There it is. Because this person knows the connection cannot survive another cycle of hot and cold. They know they cannot pour a little emotion in, then pull it back out. They know they cannot give you warmth one day and confusion the next, and expect you to keep standing there with your heart open. For some of you, that was the old pattern. They would get close, then retreat. They would say something meaningful, then act like it did not matter. They would make you feel chosen for a moment, and then leave you wondering where you stood. And Temperance is showing me that this person is aware of that imbalance now. That's not going to be everybody's story, but I'm getting someone who may feel guilty about how they handled your heart. Not necessarily because they meant to hurt you, but because they were not steady enough. They may have been indecisive. They may have been emotionally immature. They may have stayed silent when you needed clarity. And now trust is the whole bridge. Not chemistry, not attraction, not memories. Trust. Because the love is still here. We've seen that from the beginning. The Ten of Pentacles told us they see the future. The Hermit told us they've been reflecting. The Eight of Wands told us communication is building. But Temperance says, slow down. Can this actually be healed in a healthy way? Interesting. For some of you, you stopped chasing. You stopped explaining your worth. You stopped trying to pull the truth out of someone who kept hiding from it. And they felt that shift. They may not have said it, but they felt it. Temperance is also giving me this energy of two people still energetically connected, but needing a better rhythm, less fear, less pride, less guessing, more honesty, more consistency, more emotional responsibility. So if this person returns, I don't feel like Spirit is saying, just open the door and forget everything. No, this feels like, watch what they pour into the cup. Because Temperance is showing that healing is possible, but only if both people are willing to meet in the middle. And the next thing we need to look at is whether they understand something very important now. That you may still love them, but you are not accepting crumbs anymore. And that is exactly why the Five of Swords shows up next. Interesting, because this card is showing me exactly why those crumbs are not enough anymore. This is the energy of confusion, mixed signals, words that cut, pride getting louder than love, two people caring deeply, but one person not knowing how to put the sword down long enough to actually be honest. And for some of you, this is what exhausted you. Not the love, the guessing, the silence after intensity, the defensiveness when you asked simple questions, the feeling that every conversation could turn into a test, or a wall, or a disappearing act. And with the Five of Swords here, I'm not seeing you as cold. No, I'm seeing you as wiser. There it is. You may still love them, but you're not the same version of you they left confused. You're not standing in that old place anymore, waiting for half answers, trying to read between lines that should have been spoken clearly. You're not begging someone to recognize what they already know they feel. You're not making excuses for behavior that left you emotionally drained. And they sense that. They feel that something has changed in you. Maybe you're quieter now. Maybe your energy is more contained. Maybe you're not reacting the same way. Maybe you stopped reaching for the conversation first. Maybe you stopped giving them access to the softest parts of you without consistency in return, and that scares them a little. Because they know that if they come toward you now, they cannot come with games. They cannot come with ego. They cannot come with vague little messages just to see if the door is still open. They have to come with honesty, accountability, a real offer. The Five of Swords can be that moment where someone realizes, I can't win this by pretending I don't care. Because maybe in the past, they thought distance gave them control, silence gave them power, Pulling back protected them from vulnerability. But now they're starting to understand that love is not won through control. It's protected through truth. And you are not asking for perfection. That's important. You're not asking them to show up as someone who has never made a mistake. You're asking them to stop making confusion feel like love. You're asking for maturity, clarity, respect, emotional responsibility. And the next card is going to show us whether they are actually ready to step up and take responsibility now. And when that question lands, the Five of Pentacles shows what this distance has really done to them. Interesting, because this is the card of being outside the warmth. This is that feeling of looking through the window at something that could have been home. But somehow both people ended up on the other side of it. Not because the love disappeared, no, because fear, pride, silence, or timing created distance where there should have been shelter. And that's what I'm feeling here. This person may be realizing that without you, something feels missing. Not just your attention, not just your comfort, not just the way you made them feel wanted, but the feeling of belonging. There it is. The Five of Pentacles is showing me someone who may have tried to convince themselves they could keep moving forward without addressing this connection. They may have distracted themselves with work, other responsibilities, friends, family, routine, anything that helped them avoid the ache of what was left unresolved. But emotionally, they still feel the absence. And for some of you, this is where the future planning gets very real, because this person is not just missing the past anymore. They're starting to think about what was lost when the two of you fell out of alignment, the stability, the trust, the possibility of living together one day, building something steady, having family involved, creating a real foundation, maybe even marriage for some of you, or at least the thought of, what would it take for us to actually make this work? That's not going to be everybody's story, but I'm getting someone who has quietly imagined a future with you and then felt the pain of not knowing if they are still allowed to step into it. Because the door is not wide open the way it used to be. They can sense that. You still have love, but you also have standards now, and this person knows they cannot just knock lightly and expect you to run to the door. They would have to explain. They would have to own what happened. They would have to make a serious offer, not just an emotional impulse. And the tension here is pride. Will their pride let them speak before it's too late? Will they admit that losing access to you made them realize how much they actually wanted to build with you? Because the Five of Pentacles says someone feels the coldness of this separation now. And the next card is going to show us their emotional action and what they may finally say when they stop standing outside the truth. And from that cold space outside the door, the King of Wands brings the action forward. Wow, because this is action. This is not someone sitting in the cold forever, just thinking, just missing, just imagining what could have been. The King of Wands is someone who eventually has to decide, am I going to keep watching this from a distance, or am I going to do something about it? And that's the shift I'm feeling here. This person may still have pride. They may still have fear. They may still be trying to look more confident than they actually feel. But underneath that, there is a pull toward you that feels very strong. The King of Wands does not like feeling powerless. And losing access to you, losing the warmth, losing the future they quietly imagined, that has made them realize they cannot just wait for everything to fix itself. There it is. For some of you, this can be emotional communication coming in. Not necessarily perfect, not necessarily the full speech you imagined in your head, but something with more courage behind it than before. An apology, a confession, an invitation to talk. A message that feels simple on the surface, but underneath it, there's so much more they are trying to open. Because this person knows the conversation cannot just be about missing you. It has to be about what happens next. What are we doing? Can we rebuild trust? Can we stop repeating the old pattern? Can we create something with stronger roots this time? And I want to bring it back to the Ten of Pentacles from the beginning, because that long-term energy has been here the whole time. The future, commitment, home, family, stability, not just romance, not just chemistry, not just a late-night feeling. Something real. That does not mean you ignore what happened. No, this is where discernment matters. Patience matters. Responsibility matters. Someone here has shadow work to do. Someone has to face their pride, their fear of vulnerability, their habit of hiding behind silence or control. And you also get to honor the way you have changed. You can be open without abandoning yourself, because embracing change does not mean running back into the same story. It means seeing whether both people are willing to grow into a healthier one. And if they come forward with courage, honesty, and consistency, there is happily ever after potential here. But it has to be built, root by root, choice by choice, truth by truth. I'm going to leave it here. If this reading resonated, welcome to Astral Card Vault. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day or evening.